reason she'd been there tonight. The one who'd persuaded her it'd be a good idea to come along. Nick could tell straight away that Cade was real sweet on the woman. The goofy grin on his face when he'd first introduced her, the way his eyes had followed her all evening. Her smile suggested she was sweet on Cade, too. Then Dusty had shown up, and everything had gone to shit. Later, when Cade had refused to get in the car, Dusty had given him a look that said he'd be next to find himself stuffed in the trunk. But the guilt and grief and anger written all over Cade's face had clearly been stronger than any hold Dusty ever had over him. He'd walked off into the night, shoulders hunched, hands plunged deep into his jeans pockets. Didn't look back. Nick wished he'd had the balls to stand up to Dusty, too. They drove on. The terrain was sparser now. Only the occasional lonely property or rusted trailer to break up the empty desert chaparral. They passed a road sign warning, "Next services 100 miles." The four young men traveled in silence. No conversation, no music on the radio. The only sound was the gentle thrum of the Oldsmobile's engine. The car smelled of windscreen washer and old Camel cigarettes and fresh body odor. The sweat on Nick's back stuck to the velour upholstery through his t-shirt. "Pull over here," Dusty said after a while. Z eased the car onto the shoulder, cut the engine and headlights. Only that big, fat moon illuminated the otherwise dark highway now. Dusty opened the glove compartment and removed 2 flashlights, handed one to Z, and then got out of the car. The others followed him. Dusty turned on the flashlight and popped the lid of the trunk. Nick didn't want to look. Already knew what he'd see inside. But he couldn't help himself. A shovel had been tossed carelessly on top of the dead woman. Its blade glinted under the flashlight's pale beam. Nick heard one of the others retch, followed by a wet sound as vomit hit blacktop. Nick's eyes met Dusty's cold, hard stare. "What?" Nick asked. His voice was raw, barely a whisper. Dusty nodded toward the open trunk. "Grab the shovel," he said. "Then start digging." 1. Jessica. Jessica Shaw plucked a photograph at random from the pile scattered across the table and turned it over in her hands. It was a great shot, real and unfiltered and natural, taken with a proper camera rather than the latest model cell phone. There was a developer's stamp on the back for one of those one-hour photo places she was always surprised to discover still existed. These days it was usually all filters and presets and social media apps adding bunny ears and lolling dog tongues to selfies. Why anyone would want to make themselves look like a human sex doll or cartoon character was beyond Jessica. As a private investigator who specialized in missing persons cases, sometimes it was a bigger challenge sourcing a recent image that actually looked like the person who disappeared than it was tracking them down. Thankfully, there would be no such problem this time. The woman was in her early 20s, with beachy blonde hair hanging in messy waves past lightly tanned shoulders, accentuated by a black dress with spaghetti straps. She had pale blue eyes and a generous scattering of freckles across a snub nose that looked like they'd been drawn on with a pencil. The kind of girl who'd be described as cute, and who didn't need makeup to look good. The scene had been captured at a restaurant, probably Mexican, and a half-empty margarita glass and a chocolate fudge cake sat in front of her. The cake drooped slightly to one side, as though drunk, and 2 lit candles, a 2 and a 3, had been planted into the thick frosting on top. Jessica thought the woman's smile, reflected in the candlelight, carried a hint of embarrassment, and she guessed the waiter had probably led the rest of the patrons in an enthusiastic rendition of "Happy Birthday" moments before the shot had been taken.